Hi! This video today is going to take a look in something that I noticed in my life right now. And the reason why I wanted to share this is because I say in all my videos, I know I'm not the only person that's in the situation that I'm in. I know I'm not the only one who deals with the things that I deal with. So not everybody can pick up on these things, and it's not always very obvious for people to realize these things. So I will share my story and how I was able to, I'm looking at my paper, but how I was able to pick apart how my past experiences were still triggering me and giving me a hyper vigilance response to life that was happening around me. Okay, so I'm going to start. I think it's very important that I start out by saying that victims and survivors of abuse will come across these things as you go through day-to-day life. Whether you're still in that situation or you've already removed yourself out of that environment, you're going to experience these things. You might not have mine particular, but you will have things that will come up in your life. So I put day-to-day things that cause triggers. So my situation is that I just started a new job, and I tried my best to be this mom that homeschooled my kids, and I have 3 children, and it's hard. You can't homeschool 3 children and work a full-time job like I did back in my day. So found a new job. I have relocated. I am living in New York. So the job that I took was really cool. It was in Times Square, and it's just this great atmosphere, and I work in dentistry. I usually manage dental offices, but this particular job, I didn't want to take a management position. I still wanted to have that flexibility to be around for my children because I knew these things were going to arise. That's what happens when you have kids. And yeah, but I was excited. I was excited to start working again. I was excited I was working in Times Square, and right from the windows of my office, I was able to see all the big billboards. We were literally in Times Square. So I start this new job, and the manager of this office was a man. Nothing against men managers in the dental field, but you really don't see a lot of them. So again, I'm mentioning this because we're going to need to touch on this later on. It was pretty quick to realize that my morals and the office standards really weren't lining up. You notice how I chose my words. I'm not saying that they're a bad office, that anything's bad. It's just not aligning with who I am right now in my life. So I already had this feeling that I wasn't really going to stay there, but still I didn't want to give up. I still wanted to give it an opportunity, give it a chance. And I was kind of telling myself, maybe it's you, and, just stick around, see how it goes. A couple days in, I had a patient that came in, and my position in this office that I took was for a treatment coordinator. So what I do is I essentially explain the benefits to the patient regarding treatment that's recommended, and I review their treatment details, and I explain to them what procedures mean, what they are, and then I help them with third-party financing if they need that, payment plans and such. So I had this young lady come in, and she was by herself, and me and her were talking about her insurance, and she was just a little uneducated about how insurance works. It's confusing. If I didn't do it for a living, I'd be with the rest of them that have no clue about how their insurances work. But I know insurances, so it's like my thing. So I started explaining to her how this works and how her insurance works, and then she tells me that she had the money allocated for her insurance for a surgery that she was getting for her wisdom teeth. And I said, well, it's the same money that everybody takes. She wasn't aware of that. So she said, I really don't need my cleaning, and, I live in New Jersey, and I have an apartment here in New York, and I was just gung-ho to get a cleaning, but I really didn't need one, and, I can wait. And I understood that. So I was honest with her, and I said, I totally understand the approach you're taking. And yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with you canceling your appointment. She was a new patient. So I said to her, let me just bring the manager over and just kind of explain the situation, what we discussed, and how we're going to proceed from here. And I brought the manager over, and immediately he kind of cut me off in the midst of me trying to brief him on what me and this lady had discussed. And he took charge in a very bully manner. And I'm standing there. It's just me, her, this patient, and my manager. He says to her, well, you're already here, so why don't you get the cleaning done? And, you can pay X amount of money out of pocket. And she said, no, I just explained to her, meaning me, I was going to reschedule my appointment. Well, you're already here. And then he goes, and, between you and me, you've already cost us money, so you might as well stay for the visit. Are you kidding me? Really? That's what you just said to her? I was infuriated. And as he's talking to her, she's confused. I see it all over her face. And she's fiddling with her bag. She has like this little tassel on her pocketbook, and she's fiddling with this tassel. And I could just see it in her. This demeanor of her just completely changed. And I'm looking at him like, you're a friggin' bully. Like, I don't like this behavior. So what does she do? She gets her cleaning. She agrees to him. So as she stands up from her chair and walks past me, I'm dumbfounded. I was literally just kind of like, whoa, what is going on? What's happening? What? And she gets up, she walks past me, and she says, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced. I can't believe this is happening. And she just goes and gets her cleaning. And now I'm like, I've got all these emotions inside me. I'm like, I'm insulted. And I'm very self-aware. So immediately I'm like, whoa, what are we feeling here? We're feeling angry. We're feeling like he disrespected me. He just totally dismissed me. All these things. So he comes over to my desk, sits down, and he says to me, so what'd you think about that? And I said, I don't agree with that. Oh, why? I said, you do realize that, like, what you just did was wrong. What you just said to her was wrong. She made a decision. Like, you just took that decision from her. And you bullied her into getting what you wanted done. What worked best for you. I got a problem with that. And I don't like that. And I don't like aligning with people who behave that way. I feel there's ways to get things done where you don't have to behave in such a manner, and you don't have to overpower someone. You don't have to bully someone. And this is exactly what he did to this lady. I'm looking at my notes because he took her dignity and her right to make her own decision. And he took her right of being her own advocate. She already made her decision. So as he's sitting there and I explained this to him, I had other stuff I had to get done. I had 2 other patients waiting for me to go into the room and go over their treatment plans with them. Having 2 patients waiting at the same time is bad, which is another reason why I didn't align with this office. Things can be planned out appropriately and to give patients the time that they deserve. So I was already a little like disheveled. I'm not even gonna say I was behind because it had nothing to do with me. I had no control over the fact that they didn't schedule properly. So I had 2 patients waiting for me, and now I have him sitting here next to me and asking, well, why didn't you think it was right? And and he just wouldn't stop. So now I have another hypervigilance response, and I felt this knot in my stomach. I felt my heart starting to pound. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy shit, because when these things happen for me, based on all the traumas that I've been through, when these things happen where I start to feel this physical aspect of it, I know that I'm losing control over what's happening. Like I'm going to lose control over this because I can't even, it's like my logical mind, I was calm, dealing with him. I didn't raise my voice. I spoke in a very professional manner. I had it under control. But now I feel like this thing in my body. And that's when I was like, all right, this is not cool. So I looked over at him and I said, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I have a lot of stuff that I have to get done. We could talk about this later. He didn't like that. What do you mean you got to talk about this later? Come on, can you talk to me about it now? And I said, listen, this isn't the only problem that I've had. And I have to be honest, this is like the cherry on top of the sundae. So if you can't stop right now, I'm going to leave. And he said, what do you mean? What other problems are there? Meanwhile, I've been very vocal about the issues that I had seen in this office, and I was being very professional when I had brought them up. So he knew that there were other issues that I didn't agree with in regards to policies that they had in the office and how the patient wasn't put first. So, come on, Michelle, can you tell me? What is it? What is it? I want to make it work. Oh, we really like you. We want to make it work. And he was so overbearing. And now I felt like he wasn't listening to me. He wasn't leaving me alone. And I was losing control over the situation, even though I wasn't, right? But this is like what our minds tell us when we feel these things. So I looked over at him and I said, if you don't stop talking about it now, I'm going to get up and leave now. And I said, and I'm just letting you know, at the end of today, I'm not coming back. I'll work to the end of the day because that's my work ethic. But after today, I will not be returning for this position because I can't do this. Oh, he just became more and more and more and more. Fast forward. That was, I don't know, it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I still had to work till 5. So fast forward till 5 o'clock. I was very busy because, again, I felt like I was constantly behind schedule because of how they booked things. And so time flew very quickly, and I was able to keep myself busy and kind of bring myself down to my senses, right? So now that I'm not operating at this heart pounding, not in my stomach kind of, emotion, now I'm like, I'd really like the opportunity to speak to the doctor about this. She was female. And I'm like, maybe I should come in and talk to her and explain my side of the story of this so she's aware of what's going on. Like why this didn't work, why I feel that I'm not a good fit. So that's what I do. At the end of the day, I tell the manager that I will return tomorrow, but it's in hopes of speaking with the doctor. And he's like, oh, no, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Your concerns are valid, giving me very dismissive responses to things. Your concerns are valid. We really, we really want you to know that we're concerned with how you feel and we respect your decisions. So the next day I come in and the doctor is kind of being a little aloof and just disregarding the fact that I keep telling her I want to talk to her. So I eventually just approach her in the room, doctor room, where she sees patients. She didn't have a patient, but I came up to her and I made her aware of the situation. As soon as I brought the patient's name up, which of course I'm not going to mention, but as soon as I brought the patient's name up, she goes, oh yeah, he spoke to me about her. Yeah, we spoke about that. We really want you to know that your feelings are valid, and I really appreciate you bringing that to our attention. And I'm like, who brought that up to you? Him? Because I'm sure me and him are going to have a different story. So she was dismissive with me. And I said to her, well, I'm glad that he brought it up to you, and I appreciate you saying that. But I still want to tell you my side of the story because it's important, and that's why I'm here. And she kind of was a little taken back. And, of course, I came prepared for this conversation, right? So I let her know the situation that occurred, and she claimed that she wasn't aware of that. This specific thing that he said to her about how she owes us money, she's already cost us money. It's just such a nasty, disgusting thing to say to somebody and make someone feel like they're not an actual person. You're looking at them as a dollar sign. I got a problem with that. So she says, oh, no, please give us the opportunity to make this work. And if you can get me to Friday, and this was on a Wednesday, if you can get me to Friday, I would really appreciate it. And then we can revisit this on Friday, and you let me know if you feel, he's changed and, the concerns that you have, if I've addressed them. I would really appreciate you giving me that opportunity. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll do that for you. The same respect that I'm giving you now, I'll give you in that return. So I left, and that night I started really thinking about it, and I was like, I don't really think anything's going to change, because I don't expect her to fire this gentleman, and I sure don't want his job. I just think it's not going to fit. We're just not aligning. I'm referring to my notes real quick here. Oh, this is what was important for me. So the next day I was thinking about it, and I was talking about it with a friend of mine. So here I am vocalizing it, and I'm kind of saying, like, I've been in this position before in life, especially with jobs, because I mean, I work a lot. So it's like maybe I come across it in jobs more so than other situations, but I will find that it's not really working out, right? And then there's this like warrior spirit in me that's like, don't give up yet. Give it another shot. Or, with this person, this manager at this job, like this warrior spirit in me was like, don't let him win. And then there's the other side of me that's like, it's not about winning. Sorry, New York is loud, but I don't know if you hear the sirens. And it just comes down to just accepting that this position was not aligned with me. And it doesn't mean that I'm right, they're wrong, they're right, I'm wrong. Nobody has to be right or wrong. But if something is not aligning, don't sit in that shit. Excuse my French, because that's basically what it is. Like, if you know it's not going to work, and you know that your morals or your standards, your character, your characteristics, the things that you pride yourself on are somehow being diminished in this situation, get the fuck out. So that part of my brain the next morning was like, what are you doing? So now if I went back till Friday, now I put myself in the position for 2 days for this person to make me feel uncomfortable. This person meaning the manager, because my problems with him and his way of thinking, me and him aren't going to see eye to eye. And I actually told him that in my discussion with him. And then he was saying things like, well, what would you do to be better? Can you tell me? Like, but in a very desperate, like needy, pathetic kind of way. And I never was presented with someone who behaved in that manner. So the fact that this woman even keeps this man employed with the way he acts. Another thing I wanted to mention is that this person had sent me a text message picture of himself on a Sunday at the gym. And he was like, current situation. What? Why do I need to know your current situation? And I was only working there for a couple days. And that's not to also mention the fact that he would ask me a lot of personal questions when I was at work. Like, are you dating? And I would just say to him, I don't understand why this question is relevant or why this is important for you to know. But another reason why I want to mention this is when you are a victim or survivor of abuse, I know I've mentioned it in my other videos, it's like you've already become accustomed to how to deal with these type of people. So sometimes you let them get away with that. I know I did. I mean, I recognize it now, because now when I see it, I have such a zero tolerance for it that now I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. Back in the day, I would have let that drag out for a couple months, or I would have let that drag out for X amount of time. So I think it's so important to just kind of like point out my situation. And I lasted in that office. I started around Christmas time, so it was weird. Like the weeks were kind of messed up for like Christmas and New Year's. Maybe I worked a total of 7 days. And it probably would have been less than that if I just stuck with my intuition right from the beginning. So I didn't waste a lot of time there. And I just resigned from that position on Thursday. And today I had an interview. I have another interview tomorrow. I have a working interview the next day. So, now I've opened myself up to new opportunities, because I did not think that I had to fight for something within that job. And a lot of people do that. They feel like they got to put the fight in. And sometimes you really don't have to fight. I mean, if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. And that feeling of resistance that you feel, you should honor that, because that feeling of resistance is supposed to be pushing you to where you need to go. So it's almost like you're guiding light in a sense, as I'm dressed all in black, talking about light. All right, well, I am done. And this is a long video, so I appreciate you watching if you watched all the way to the end. And please don't forget to subscribe and like my videos. If you have anything to share, please comment down below. I would greatly appreciate it. I love interacting with everybody on here. And till my next video, bye.